Here's your wrestling news for November 24th, 2022. And we're kicking off today with AEW Dynamite, as this week's show was the first since Full Gear and took place in none other than CM Punk's hometown of Chicago, Illinois. Given that the CM stands for Chicago Made, you'd expect the Windy City fans to be behind the former world champion, but that isn't the case. During the Elites match with Death Triangle, there were some more vocal members of the audience chanting "F*** CM Punk," as he still isn't forgiven for what happened after All Out. With that said, there were plenty of fans chanting "F*** the Elite" during their match, as well as a chant of "same old shit" when Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks were on the offense. Omega didn't exactly try and win the fans over, hitting a GTS on Pac and earning resounding boos from the Chicago crowd for using Punk's finisher. But with Death Triangle getting the win, the AEW Trios Tag Champions are now 2-0 in this best-of-7 series, but it's the chants from fans that were the main stars of this match on Dynamite. Arguably, the biggest story going into last night's Dynamite was around William Regal, who cost Jon Moxley the AEW World Championship at Full Gear. Regal opened up last night's Dynamite, but refused to explain giving MJF the brass knuckles last Saturday, instead stating that the new world champion would not be appearing. MJF didn't show, but Jon Moxley did, but before he could tear into Regal, Bryan Danielson tried to play peacemaker. Danielson pleaded with Moxley not to hurt Regal and, in a bold line, referenced both Regal and Moxley's battles with substance abuse issues, adding that his own father had these problems too. A slap by Danielson was able to knock some sense into Moxley, who instead of beating the life out of Regal, gave him a simple command: run away from AEW and never return. And with that warning, Regal did just that, and it's possible that the gentleman villain may be gone from AEW for good. After all, there have been rumors of Regal's return to WWE, especially with his son Charlie Dempsey making his debut in NXT just a few months ago. Whether Regal is truly done with AEW or not, only time will tell for sure, but Jon Moxley doesn't want to see the traitorous Brit around All Elite Wrestling ever again. As we mentioned, MJF didn't appear on last night's Dynamite in person, but we do know when his first title defense will take place. On Dynamite, Ricky Starks faced Ethan Page in the finals of the AEW World Title Eliminator Tournament, and Starks entered the match at a distinct disadvantage. Wrapped in bandage tape and nursing injuries, Starks was feeling the effects of his Full Gear match with Brian Cage, but fought through to defeat Page with 3 spears. Now Starks is the #1 contender for the AEW World Championship, and it has been confirmed that he'll face MJF at Winter is Coming on December 14th. Will Starks end MJF's reign mere weeks after it began? It's almost certainly not going to happen, but merely getting a shot at the title will be a huge feather in the cap for the former Team Taz member. More from AEW now, as after All Out, Malachi Black announced that he would be taking a break from wrestling to focus on his mental health. Not long after, Buddy Matthews announced his own hiatus, but now the House of Black is back together. During the Best Friends segment with The Factory, the lights went out and Julia Hart appeared on the stage. When the lights went dark again, Black, Matthews, and Brody King appeared on the ring apron, destroying everyone they can get their hands on. After All Out, it was rumored that Black was leaving AEW and seeking a return to WWE, where his wife works, and while the Dutchman did indeed ask for his release at one point, his hiatus did not see him attempt to be signed by Triple H. With the House of Black now reunited, it remains to be seen what the group do next, but we wouldn't be surprised if the faction has their sights set on the AEW Trios Championships. In March, Thunder Rosa captured the AEW Women's World Championship from Britt Baker, but it's been months since her last title defense. Rosa has been on the shelf since September with an injury, and despite remaining optimistic of a speedy recovery, her reign has now come to an end. On this week's Dynamite, Renee Paquette made the announcement that Rosa and AEW have reached an understanding and that she has been stripped of the AEW Women's World title. Paquette then introduced Jamie Hayter as the undisputed AEW Women's World Champion to a huge ovation from the Chicago crowd, but the champ was interrupted by Britt Baker before she had the chance to speak. Ever since Rosa went down with her injury, there had been speculation over how long it'd be before she is fully healed, and going by this decision, she's not expected back in the ring soon. Thunder Rosa has been accused of exaggerating the extent of her injury, a claim the former champion has repeatedly denied, but whatever the case, there's now only one Women's World Champion, and it isn't Thunder Rosa. Over to WWE now, as it's no secret that the promotion wants The Rock back for WrestleMania and are hopeful that the Brahma Bull will lock horns with Roman Reigns at the event. With Reigns currently the undisputed WWE Universal Champion, it seems like the path to a Mania match with the Tribal Chief goes through the Royal Rumble, but now there's a big hurdle in the way. When Ringside News asked, they were told that The Rock is not booked for next year's Rumble, though that of course could still change if the right deal is made. If the Great One doesn't appear at the Rumble, that means that somebody else will earn a match against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, unless the Tribal Chief loses his titles before April. While The Rock isn't scheduled for the Royal Rumble, it has been said that he is a lock for WrestleMania 39 and that he is expected to face Reigns. Clearly, WWE has some booking to figure out to make that match happen, but don't expect the winner of the 2000 Royal Rumble to add another win to his collection in 2 months' time. In July, Ric Flair competed in his final ever match, teaming with Andrade El Idolo to defeat Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. While Flair's last match was highly promoted, many saw the bout itself as a reminder of just how old and worn down the Nature Boy has become. Speaking on the latest AEW Unrestricted, Dustin Rhodes was asked about what he hopes his last match will be, and while he's not sure what he wants, he knows what he doesn't. That's a tough question, man. In my blood, I look at Ric Flair in his supposed last match, and I don't want to do that, as long as I can get out of the business and still walk. A second-generation wrestler, Rhodes, spoke about seeing legends from the past who needed crutches, walkers, and wheelchairs just to get about, and won't let that happen to him. Though Rick assured fans that July would mark his last match, the dirtiest player in the game has teased wrestling again, but Dustin Rhodes won't be doing the same when he gets to Rick's age. And we're ending today with Carl Anderson, who earlier this month confirmed that he will defend his Never Openweight Championship for New Japan next month. Anderson had been scheduled to defend the title at Battle Autumn earlier this month, but instead chose to work WWE's Crown Jewel show instead. But there are more New Japan dates in the future. Fightful Select reports that despite the public impression that this will be a one-off appearance, Anderson is scheduled for multiple New Japan dates alongside Luke Gallows, including Wrestle Kingdom 17. The report adds that these dates were confirmed before the OC returned to WWE in October, and even before Gallows and Anderson left Impact Wrestling in August of this year. Anderson was reportedly adamant that these dates be honored when he negotiated a return to WWE, and this news means that Wrestle Kingdom 17 will see talent from New Japan, Stardom, AEW, and WWE all on one show. Wrestle Kingdom is New Japan's biggest event of the year, and while next year's event will be one night instead of two, as has been the case since 2020, the show will have a star-studded interpromotional card. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.